Today, in the media conference with Lal Goyal, which is brought to you by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan and Organ Donation India Foundation. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic, but today's topic is very, very different. Why different? Because the topic is somewhat connected to the politics or to the governance of all the entire, not only India, but all the, I will say, everywhere in the world. And the topic is politics versus leadership. Leadership is all about unlocking the potential in others. Leadership, both as a research area and as a practical skills, encompass the ability of an individual group or organization to lead, influence, or guide other individuals, teams, or entire organization. Politics, which is originally a Greek word, politika, means affairs of the cities, is the set of activities that are associated with making decisions in groups or other forms of power relations among individuals, such as the distribution of resources or status. Great leaders throughout history, they are not politicians. It is unlikely to have a good politician and a great leader in one person. There are many differences, but I am quoting few differences between a politician and a leader. A politician always aligns with popular public opinion, while a leader aligns with proven principles and values, even when they are not in line with public sentiments. A politician is campaigning for an election mostly for their selfish ambitions, while a leader is raising support to advance a worthy cause for their nation's development. A politician is interested in power, position, and all the entitlements attached for the sake of it, or most times for selfish reasons, while a leader is interested in getting support for the development and freeing of their people, even at the expense of positions, entitlements, and his or her life. A politician is thinking about their prosperity, while a leader is thinking about the welfare of the future generation. A politician divides mankind, while a leader unites everyone. Politicians overpromise in order to win an election, but under-deliver, while leaders under-promise but over-deliver. Politicians build their cabinets or teams based on political, tribal, religious, and other weak sentiments. Leaders build their teams based on competence, shared vision, and values. A politician does not have permanent friends or allies. They are loyal to the extent that their interests are taken care of. They are selfish. That is why they will tell you they only have permanent interests, but not permanent friends. Leaders build friends based on shared visions, values, and principles, and they are committed to those values. Politicians mix lies with truths, leaving the people confused. So with a politician, the more you look, the less you see. But a leader says the truth always. They are open and transparent. With a leader, the more you look, the more you see. So to discuss this very, very important, very relevant topic, politics versus leadership, we have very eminent panelists are with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and he is Honorable Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra. Honorable Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra is the former Allahabad High Court judge. He is the chairman of Review Committee, which looks after Prevention of Unauthorized Activities Act. He joined service as civil judge. He worked as district judge at Bijnor and Agra. He also worked as judicial member, State Administrative Tribunal. But before I will go to our Honorable Justice Lochan Mehrotra, I would like to play one bite which has been sent by Honorable Mr. Justice Sudhir Kumar Saxena. He is also the former High Court judge. And I will play his recording and see what he says about today's topic.
Good morning, Mr. Goyal. Thanks for raising a very crucial topic today, as politics has entered every sphere of life. While the statesman thinks for generation. Politician always has in mind the election. Unfortunately, we have politicians all around, the statesmen in oblivion. Read any newspaper, watch any channel, you will find maximum space cornered by the politicians. Our day-to-day activities are governed by the politics. Every party is now clamoring to prepare for 2024 elections. Recently, a leader in UP, after assuming charge, gave a call to prepare for the local body election before 2024. Everything they do, if they talk, have election or constitution in mind, whether it is installation of hand pump is concerned or setting up railway coach factory or AIMS is concerned. Every political party has a right to go to hustings with their endeavor strategy, to which I can't take any exception. What pains me is to see that this can go to any extent to placate the constituency. Garlanding of Bilkis rapists, murder of police inspector in Bulandshahr was also garlanded. Lumpen elements sent by Tyagi were garlanded. A Tyagi Mahapanchayat was held. What does this show? The open sloganeering of some Saptajona. Difficulty is that nobody is coming to condemn these actions. These things can go on. We cannot check the lumpen elements. But what is required from the leadership is that they should condemn these actions which tend to divide the society on caste religious lines. Nobody is taking any stand on reservation, monetary status. $370 CA, because every action they do, every word they speak might affect their constituency. Whether it is bank legislation, demonetization, surgical strike, all had something in the background that aimed at victory in election. It appears that everybody is just trying to win the election and rule the subjects and nothing more. The tendency to somehow reach the ruling dispensation has brought in the criminals in the political sphere, in the governance. We placate corporate because they fund the parties to win the election. Therefore, their ultimate goal is to win the election and rule. They do not think for the generations that are coming. There are a number of issues that are plaguing society, but on this they won't take any stand except the speeches they gave on international forums. So far as bureaucracy is concerned, it has completely merged with the political politicians, and they are divided in unison. They form the government, they fall the government. Unfortunately, our judicial verdicts have also sometimes give the feeling that they are guided by the political considerations. Hence to C.J. Ramanna, who has rekindled some hope. Leadership is what Mahatma Gandhi gave. Entire nation was standing behind him. Leadership was Lal Bahadur Shastri gave. entire country gave up one meal on his call. I'm sorry to say that now we are not having the type of leadership which this country should have, especially when all the leaders, all leaders are drawn from this land. I recall the promise given by Prime Minister Modi, there should be minimum governance, but this is still eluding. Thanks.
So you have heard what the Honorable Mr. Justice Sudhir Kumar Saxena, the former High Court judge, has mentioned. Very, very strong statement from him. And according to him, there's a lack of leaders, and he has mentioned two names as a leader, Mahatma Gandhi and Lal Bahadur Shastri. Mahatma Gandhi, because the entire country was behind him when our independence movement was there, and Lal Bahadur Shastri, when we all remember those days when he appealed that nobody will eat on Monday evening dinner, and everybody of that age still remember that we have stopped, even the kitchen was not preparing anything at home. So now we would like to discuss, so that's why I would like to now invite our panelist guest, whom I have already introduced, and he is Honorable Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra. Honorable Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra, you have heard what Honorable Justice Saxena has mentioned, and what I have given some differences between the politics and the leadership. We would like to know from you, because you are also from the judiciary side, so we would like to know your views on politics versus leadership. Honorable Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra, please.
सभी को नमस्कार। काफी कुछ आपने और ब्रदर जस्टिस सक्सेना साहब ने डिटेल में, या ये कहें कि सार में, जिस्ट में बता दिया। मैं इसमें इतना ही और ऐड करूंगा कि पॉलिटिक्स एंड लीडरशिप दोनों एंटानिम्स हैं। जैसा आपने कहा, बहुत रेयर ऐसे लीडर होंगे जो पॉलिटिशियन रहे हों, अदरवाइज दोनों डिफरेंट अपोजिट पोल्स हैं। पॉलिटिक्स अब थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड, वारिंग ऑफ फ्यू एक्सेप्शंस, जीविकोपार्जन का एक साधन हो गया है, लिवलीहुड का साधन हो गया है, जिसमें आपको केवल अपनी ही नहीं, अपने परिवार की भी चिंता रहती है, और ऐसा लगने लगता है कि आप अपने लिए ही नहीं, अपनी फैमिली के लिए भी, और आगे आने वाले अपने और जो डिसाइपल्स हैं या अपनी पार्टी है, उसके लिए जमीन तैयार करा रहे हैं। पॉलिटिक्स का देश के उत्थान से उतना संबंध नहीं रह गया है जितना कि एक लीडर का उनके अपने विचारों से। पॉलिटिक्स का एकमात्र उद्देश्य चुनाव जीतना है, किसी भी कीमत पर जीतना है, और अगर इसको खराब शब्दों में हम कहें तो पॉलिटिक्स का उद्देश्य समाज में हमें और आपको हमारी हैसियत और जाति या धर्म बताना रह गया है। इसके विपरीत आप अगर लीडर्स को देखें, जरूरी नहीं कि वो लीडर मंच पे खड़ा होकर भाषण दे। मुझे नहीं पता कि कितने लोग इस बात को मानेंगे, लेकिन आज भी जे.आर.डी. टाटा, रतन टाटा, जयप्रकाश नारायण, विनोबा भावे, महात्मा गांधी, सरदार पटेल, या इवन राजनीति में जवाहरलाल नेहरू, और सबसे आखिर में जिनको हम लीडर कम पॉलिटिशियन कह सकते हैं, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी, जो कम से कम अपने अकेली राजनीति को न करके देश के बारे में सोचना जिनका एकमात्र उद्देश्य था। जयप्रकाश जी, विनोबा भावे, इवन मदर टेरेसा को देख लीजिए आप, जिन्होंने केवल और केवल देश के लिए और जनता के लिए काम किया। पॉलिटिशियंस की एक सीमाएं होती हैं, चाहे वो जिला स्तर पर हो अपना वर्चस्व बनाना, प्रदेश स्तर पर आप देख रहे हैं जो रीजनल पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज हैं उनके लीडर्स का केवल अपने स्टेट तक किसी तरह से अपने वोटर्स को मोबिलाइज करना और चुनाव जीतना, और नेशनल लेवल पे जो हैं वो नेशनल लेवल पे उनका मेन एम यही होता है। जबकि लीडर्स के लिए लीडर्स का कोई क्षेत्र, कोई रीजन नहीं होता। लीडर चाहे वो नेल्सन मंडेला हो, चाहे वो अब्राहम लिंकन हो, चाहे महात्मा गांधी हो, इन लोगों की कोई सीमाएं नहीं थी। दे वर नोन एज वर्ल्ड लीडर्स, जो दुनिया, जिनका एक उद्देश्य था कि लोग, पूरी दुनिया के लोग आगे बढ़े, दुनिया के लोगों में कैसे एक इम्प्रूवमेंट हो, इंसानियत का इम्प्रूवमेंट हो, जिन्होंने जाति प्रथा या रेशियल सिस्टम को खत्म करने की पूरी कोशिश की है। और इसके ठीक अपोजिट पॉलिटिशियंस इन्हीं चीजों को बढ़ावा देने की कोशिश करते हैं। तो ये पॉलिटिक्स और लीडरशिप, इन दोनों को आपस में अब मिलाने वाला कोई दिखता नहीं है। और ये दोनों इतने अपोजिट पोल्स हैं कि इसमें आप कोई समानता ढूंढ नहीं सकते हैं। एक अच्छा लीडर, उसकी इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन, आप जितने भी लीडर्स हुए हैं, चाहे महात्मा गांधी हो, जयप्रकाश जी हो, आपकी ये मदर टेरेसा हो, लिंकन हो, आप इनमें किसी की भी इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन देख लीजिए, वो सब के सब बहुत हैंड टू माउथ रहे हैं और केवल उनका सुबह से शाम तक एक ही काम था कि लोगों को कैसे जागरूक बनाए, लोगों को कैसे डेवलप करें, कैसे कंट्री को अपने टॉप पे ले जाए, कैसे वर्ल्ड में आपस में हार्मोनी डेवलप करें। लेकिन पॉलिटिशियंस जो हैं, वो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द पॉलिटिशियंस, हम सबका नाम नहीं है, देयर मे बी सम एक्सेप्शंस, लेकिन मेजॉरिटी ऑफ पॉलिटिशियंस आजकल आप देख रहे हैं, दे हैव कलेक्टेड ह्यूज वेल्थ। केवल उनका काम एक रह गया कि बहुत लेविश जिंदगी जीना। वोट के लिए आजकल आप, जैसा सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी मॉनिटरिंग कर रहा है फ्रीवीज को लेके, नियरली ऑल द पार्टीज, उनको इससे चिंता नहीं है कि हमारे इनकम टैक्स के पैसे का क्या हो रहा है, लेकिन वो वोट लेने के लिए बिना ये देखे हुए कि कहीं हमारा स्टेट आर्थिक रूप से कंगाल तो नहीं हो रहा है, हम लोग वोट के लिए फ्री वीज देने को तैयार हो जा रहे हैं। ये राजनीति है और कोई भी लीडर इसको अप्रिशिएट नहीं करेगा। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra, for giving your views. Again, a very, very strong views. And Honorable Justice Mehrotra very clearly says that there is no similarity between politics and leadership in the present time. Although he has given many names who are one of the leaders, their leaders in true sense. And he started from Mahatma Gandhi, Vinoba Bhave, Jayaprakash Narayan, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Mother Teresa, Jawaharlal Nehru. And he says they were real heroes, they were real leaders. Even he mentioned about Nelson Mandela and Abraham Lincoln. So he says they were thinking about the others, they were thinking about the country's citizens, they were not thinking about themselves. And he very clearly says that nowadays the politicians are amassing the wealth, they are not bothered, they just aim is to win the election. And for that, even like what he says, the Supreme Court is also monitoring about the freebies. They are just giving the promises, or rather giving the freebies to win the election without thinking about the economic condition of the country. So he says, really, it's not a good affair that nowadays we don't have the leaders. He even mentioned about Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. Yes, I can mention one thing here. When we know that Atal ji lost the first time when he became the Prime Minister, the confidence motion by one vote, he would have managed like now we have seen the present time, how the things are happening in everywhere, whether it's Maharashtra or Bihar or other places, Karnataka or Madhya Pradesh, where the people, where the only consideration is how to be there on the seat. But Atalji has rightly decided, and it shows the leadership, not a politician, although it pays the dividend, and next he won very comfortably and he ruled the country also. So thank you very much, Honorable Justice Mehrotra, for giving your views. I'm sure our viewers who are getting now, they have heard two views, one from the Justice, Honorable Justice Saxena, and the other from Honorable Justice Mehrotra. Both have given their views. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran is the former visiting professor, IIM Lucknow and University of Texas at Dallas, USA. He is the founder of Dr. Sharan Consultancy, California, USA. He is the director of Eldo Private Limited, New Delhi. He has done his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in 1980. He did PhD in 1986. He started teaching and researching business and entrepreneurship since 1984. He published research papers in reputed journals, international seminar proceedings, and chapters in books of readings. He started academic administration phase as dean in 1997, rising to executive director, controlling management and engineering institutes in 2007. Her Highness Governor of Karnataka nominated Dr. Sharan to the Senate of Bangalore University in recognition of his distinguished academic contributions. He was visiting professor to University of Texas at Dallas from 2012 to 2019. He also visited Washington State University and President University Indonesia on the invitation of the Dean Faculty of Business in 2018. He innovated and implemented a unique model to double the turnover with existing infrastructure in one accounting year. He is co-promoter of Institute of Family Business Management Society. He is honorary director of NCR, Delhi-based high-tech B2B digital startup. He is also co-founder of OWGI Foundation, which promotes social entrepreneurship ventures. But before I will go to Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, I also have one more bite from Advocate K.C. Jain. Advocate K.C. Jain is a renowned social activist and Supreme Court lawyer. So I will just play his bite about today's
terms. Leadership and politics look synonymous. The present days have shown that there is a vast difference in both of the terms and their meanings. While leader may be in the field of business, religion, games, or any other given sphere, indicates positive aspects, a positivity, a quality to take the group or the people to achieve the desired result. But politicians or politics look like a dirty term who have vested interest and fail to guide people correctly and properly. What we need is, in the field of politics, we need leaders, statesmen who, beyond the interest of their own party or coming into power, they can guide people to make choices of correct decisions. Take the case of freebies, all that shows that let's hope that we have leaders, world-class leaders in the field of politics as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Advocate K.C. Jain, for giving your views. And now I would like to invite the Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, you have already heard Honorable Justice Saxena, Honorable Justice Mehrotra as well as Advocate K.C. Jain. They have given their views, very, very strong views. We would like to know, because somebody asked me what Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran is doing in this case, because he is not a politician, neither is a leader. But he has forgotten that the professor and who was a professor in IIM Lucknow is not a thing, because he knows the quality of leadership. So as a management person, you know what is a leader, and you also know fairly about the politicians, because in India, at least I can say that 90% Indians, or sometimes even people say 100% Indians, are basically more interested in politics than anything else. And at least the present time, politics has become so interesting that people have stopped seeing the serials or the movies, but rather they want to see what is happening today. So we would like to know your views on today's very, very important topic, politics versus leadership. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel, for accommodating me, inviting me on the panel, despite people questioning my locus standi. I extend my greeting to the respected co-panelists today, and I extend a welcome to our viewers. At the start, on the onset, it is my effort and endeavor to shed light on the theme that you have chosen for the day, politics and leadership. In your introduction, you mentioned the origins of the world politics is politica, Greek times, affairs of the city. This encourages me. Let us go back to the ancient Greece, because if we really want to understand the meaning of politics and leadership, if we really want to understand what that meaning holds in terms of day-to-day life, if we want to understand and explain what we are seeing today in our own city, in our own state, in our own country, in around our world, then it is very important what I'm going to say, and people should listen to it very carefully. In ancient Greece, a very famous young person at the age 14, 15 went to learn about the broader comprehensive aspects of life. His name was Aristotle. He went to a teacher called Plato. Both names are immortally written in our consciousness. When Aristotle asked, please teach me what you wanted to teach me, I want to learn philosophy. Philosophy translated into English is love of knowledge. Then Plato said, I'll ask you 3 questions. You go find the answer. That will be my lessons to you in what you are seeking to learn. The first question asked Mr. Goel was, what is the nature of man? We all are human beings. Politicians are no exceptions. Leaders are no exception. So this, what I'm talking, is very relevant. And this perhaps will reassure your co-panelists and reassure your viewers who are doubting what does a professor have to do here on this platform. The first question Plato asked Aristotle to find answer to is, what is nature of man? Then the second question he asks is, what is the nature of the universe? What is the nature of the universe? And the third question is logical one, flowing from the first and second question. What is the relationship of man with the universe? Now, each one of us, Mr. Goel, faces these 3 questions and gives one's answer. This answer keeps on evolving as we grow up in life. When you were 5-year-old, you had an answer to the question, what is man? Friend, foe, father, mother, dost, dushman. These were your definitions of man. But it has to expand. In young age, you had much more precise definition. And when a life and death topic like politics and leadership is there, I urge you to urge on the viewers that they must learn the only antidote which saves you from serious dangers. Keep your definitions precise, keep your definitions sharp. If you let your definitions lose their sharpness, if you corrupt your definition, you will not have any defenses whatsoever. आपके आंख के सामने से आपके सारी एसेट लोग उठा ले जाएंगे, and you won't be able to utilize the systems in the society to defend yourself. The first line of defense is how sharp your definitions are. So keep your definition, what is nature of man, very clear and sharp. Keep your nature of the definition for world very sharp. And why I'm emphasizing is these three questions were beautifully addressed by Aristotle. To this day, we live by his definitions. And therefore, what I want to say is, let us know a little bit more about what exactly is philosophy when we are discussing politics and leadership. Philosophy is a science with 5 branches, Mr. Goel, and what Plato asked Aristotle to answer names the first branch called metaphysics. Overall picture, metaphysics. Aristotle became immortal because instead of directly answering Plato's question, it is a known matter that he wrote Principles of Logic. He gave the method for us, every human being, large or small, wise or uneducated, rich or poor, to use logic and then answer the questions. Metaphysics. Second branch became the logic using reason, and that one is called by a gigantic word, famous Shashi Tharoor kind of a word, epistemology. How do we know what we know? Simple. If I know something, I must have used a method to know it. What is that method? When you look at the bigger scale, that becomes the second branch of philosophy. The two together define the third branch called ethics. How should I behave in the universe? That question needs a standards. And those are called values. And therefore, the third branch becomes ethics. Now the question comes, we are human beings, we live together. If we want to live together, what you do to me, what I do to you impacts ourselves. Judges impact police, police impacts common citizens. Now, how should human beings should interact, behave with each other? Those principles became the principles of politics. And now, coming back to this one, 4 branches are there. The 5th one is with respect to art and literature, aesthetics. Which values shall be put in our paintings and exalt them, and which values are not worth exalting and doing? Mona Lisa painted, or Michelangelo painting the chapel of the church, or our own temples having those many sculptures? Those are expressions of the 5th branch of philosophy called aesthetics. Now you see, I have put a round frame for our viewers and for co-panelists to understand. Politics is very much a derived part of philosophy. The fundamental parts are the 3 questions Plato asked Aristotle, and the second branch is the Aristotle's Principia Logica, the method to answer those 3 questions, and therefrom we derive. And Mr. Goel, today, now that we have started people questioning my locus standi, so I must go out of my and prove it. It took me 8 years, and you just mentioned I went to IIM Ahmedabad, so you know the level of intelligence was given to me in 2 years by my teachers in that famous institutions of the world, one of the leading colleges in the world. So that level, it took me 8 years to read a 120-page book, which was named The Epistemology and Introduction. How do we know? What do we know? And then it goes on to define a word, ethics, which says every man has right to pursue his or her happiness. That is the most ethical pursuit in life for any man. Given Aristotle's answer to the question, what is nature of man? Nature of man is to pursue his or her happiness. There is nothing more sacred. There is nothing more important than this one. There are different schools of ethics. I concede that fact. There are people who will just not accept my value system. They will reject it, ridicule it, but that is not the point. The point is, objectively speaking, for objective definition of man, there is a set of ethics. And these three, Mr. Goel, defines what a proper political system will be in the world. It is not, Congress party politics. It is not BJP politics. It is not, Samajwadi party politics. There is an objective politics. If I spread my domain, it is not, Johnson's politics in England. It is not, another Tom, Dick, and Harry's politics in another country. It is not Joe Biden's politics of Democrats in USA. No, there is a proper system of politics. And you know what? What we remember when we're writing our constitution, but we have forgotten over the 70 years, is the fact that we recognize the principle of human rights of man. In 1776, the Bill of Rights was the foundation, charter was there. That is the birth of a different kind of political system. Even in England, when their constitution is not written, the system of politics is based on human rights. All their laws were written like that. A country like Australia was born because some people in England violated the rights of property and life of fellow Britishers, and they were tried by the judicial system. We listened to 2 judges, and they were convicted and sent to a different piece of land. Australia is the name, and we know all those historical facts. Now coming to the fact, last part, is there a connect between politics and leadership? Of course, there is, because you and I have only one ambition. Where we are talking, I should be able to persuade you. And you are talking to me in order to persuade me. You have a viewpoint. I have a viewpoint. Leader is the one who is constantly striving that their view of things must be accepted by those who call them followers. Now, here is the beauty of it. A proper leader will not sell popular things. You see, there is no bigger tragedy, Mr. Goel, that a leader is in fact a follower. Leader, if you draw a picture, should be one who should be at the front of the queue. But today's politicians are pampering, as one of our fellow speakers said, selling goodies and freebies to earn votes. We have now a serious moment, and I'll close with that statement. Today, whether it is India, today, whether it is developed countries like France, Germany, or England, or the mother of all enlightened political systems, because they named the Bill of Rights, Rights of Man, USA. The picture is very, very scary. And that is, our leaders have become populist because they have no set values. Whatever gets them votes is the standard. And therefore, a leader has become follower. And we, the people who hold the franchise, who have the power to define and maintain political power of different parties, denominations have surrendered it for the lowest value. One day in our life, when somebody says something sweet to us, which we like, when they give us 500 rupees or 5,000 rupees, whatever be the denomination, when they give us, 300 ml of a liquid, which keeps us happy. And if we are willing to compromise our franchise for these things, situation is very bad when leadership in political field has come down. As I said, concluding thing, when two people will meet, Mr. Goel, there will start politics. I will try to overrule you. I will like to dominate you. This is the politics. Politics is in my life when husband and wife are trying to decide what will they buy for the junior for the birthday. There politics begins. In our families, it begins. In organizations, it begins. You have heard about corporate politics. So social politics is one set, corporate politics another, and today's corporate politics has infiltrated our official politics. In India, we are saying 2 A's are influencing all the governmental policies. Not for nothing that we are saying this one. Corporate politics, we have experienced. Will it be for me, for the organization, or will it be just for me? To hell with the organization. Extend it. Our political leaders today may either care for the country, as our fellow speakers mentioned, or they can care only for themselves. It is again a scary scenario. Let me mark whether it is corporate politics or country's politics, state's politics. Your viewers and our leaders must wake up. There is only a certain point to which you can compromise leadership in politics, and then disaster happens. You are talking to one of the co-panelists. I heard before we started a country called Sri Lanka. If that is not bad, if Pakistan's politics and leadership is not bad, what will be bad? Let us ask that, and let us wake up before it is time. Let me be the one who is giving the wake-up call through your, Mr. Goel, media conference platform. We have to wake up. Things are serious. And correction begins when we begin by realizing the hierarchy of metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and politics. Just by looking for political solution, nothing is going to happen. Take it from writing. Don't waste your time. One old man who understands things, who has studied, has invested his entire life to study. 120 pages, 8 years. Can you imagine? That is it. That is what it takes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. I can understand the anguish which you have faced, either because of you have felt hurt, because I mentioned about why you are on the panel, somebody raised, but otherwise it might be because of the current politics. But you have mentioned about Plato. I just want to understand from you one point only, very short answer. Do you think Plato's philosopher king is required in India? We have seen like Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Radhakrishnan, even our Professor APJ Abdul Kalam, they were like philosopher kings. Do you think in politics also we require philosopher kings or not? Very short answer.
The question is, that is enlightened one, far better than any versions that are not philosopher king's version. But that is not the ideal one, not the practical one. We'll lose it. The practical one is defined by another philosopher who was a student of Plato's student, in spirit, not physically. And that one is politics based on human rights. You will not use force against me. I will not use force against you. If we fail to observe this principle in politics, if government makes any laws which takes away my property, my life, endangers it, then there are courts which will uphold it. Philosopher kings uphold this value, but in a misguided intellectual way. The misguidance, when it is removed, we get the ideal. So Plato is good, but Plato is not perfect. Today we have a perfect one.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Mr. G.V. Manimaran. Mr. G.V. Manimaran is the National General Secretary of Rashtriya Lok Jan Shakti Party. He is the Strategic Mentor, Canara Bank Officers Association. He is the ex-director, Canara Bank. He is ex-General Secretary, All India Banks Officers Federation. He is ex-Senior Vice President, All India Banks Officers Confederation. He is the ex-President, Canara Bank Officers Cooperative Thrift and Credit Society Limited. Welcome, Mr. G.V. Manimaran on our show. Mr. G.V. Manimaran, before I will go to you, I have a message or opinion from one of our viewers, and the opinion is from Miss Hemlata. She is the former airport manager, Chennai, and you also belongs to the Chennai. The opinion says, we have to pay attention to get good government and leadership. Aesthetics, qualities is what politics is all about. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Leaders should take only the right decision, which is always lacking in the Indian politics. This is the opinion sent by Miss Hemlata, former airport manager, Chennai. Now, Mr. G.V. Manimaran, you are a politician, although earlier you were working in the bank, but now you are a politician full-time, and you have lots of connections, not in India, but internationally, because you were in the delegation where I also accompanied you in that to Sri Lanka, where we discussed how the India can help the Sri Lankan government in this present crisis. You have heard Honorable Justice Saxena, you have heard Honorable Justice Mehrotra, you have heard Advocate Jain, you have heard Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, you have also heard the opinion of Ms. Hemlata. Now, being a politician, and everyone is saying one thing very clearly, that we don't have a leader at present. The names were given, and I will tell you one thing. Today, I received a message from a senior IAS officer who retired. He's a 76 batch, Maharashtra. He's retired as additional Chief Secretary of Maharashtra, Mr. Pandey. He says, can you give me any one name who is a leader in India? I said, you please watch our show. So he says, you please don't quote any name. So I have not quoted any leader name till now, and I'm going to quote afterwards if required. But I would like to know your views now, because it's a very, very sensitive thing. People are saying that the politics has become very dirty. It's a basically everyone is doing for their own self-interest. Nobody is looking for the country. Being a politician, you might be also facing such types of questions in your family, outside also, that whether people at the politics is good thing or a dirty thing, and what is the real thing between politics versus leadership. Mr. G.V. Manimaran.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. A good introduction you have given to me. I would like to state here that I am not a born politician, and I joined in politics after 60 only. And I have been the leader in the banking industry as a manager, director, and leading the trade unions. I gained that to enter into politics only after 60, when I got a confidence in me that I can do something in the politics. And this topic is really enormous because this still remains enigmatic thing, this politics and the leadership, even after the centuries have gone and so many theories are on. But anyway, I perceive this topic offers me a scope to analyze the deeds of leadership in politics. And as a person who was in the banking industry, as a banker, joined the politics after 60, and now I have taken up the job whole time. I would like to analyze what should be, or leaders should have the qualities to enter into politics. One thing, knowingly or unknowingly, the term leaders is broadly linked with the politicians in practice, though it is otherwise theoretical. And otherwise also, whether you are a professor or justice, when you look at our world, the truth is what we are all under the influence of politics and the politicians. That we cannot deny that. But again, no, if you think about the leadership, everyone would accept that any leader could get into politics. But it is also accepted every politician cannot be construed as a leader. That's what my previous speakers also mentioned, that they have distinguished they have distanced the politics from the leadership. Sometimes now we tend to think whether one should possess any leadership qualities to become a politician. That is also a big question in front of us. Because as our professor told that, any individual who could get along with the popular views, irrespective of his own ideologies, can emerge as a politician. Whereas a leader is a person who always attempts to preach and practice the proven principles and values which he also strongly believes. He only the leader. And a politician thinks always about the prosperity. In today's parlance, whether it could be for self or it could be for the society, but a leader thinks about the posterity beyond them. To put it shortly, that many politicians are today practical when the real leaders believe to follow the principle. So, and before getting into the what should be the leadership quality one should possess to enter into politics or being in politics, let us analyze how the leaders are emerged in the current scenario. It is always a doubt in our mind that whether status gives the stature to the individuals, or because of the stature somebody gained the position of the status as a political leader. Somebody gains his status in politics suddenly due to unforeseen circumstances, without even having an opportunity to prove whether they have a stature to attain the status. Right example is Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. When the assassination took place, Indira Gandhi died, and Rajiv Gandhi, who was casually piloting the Air India, became the Prime Minister. It is because of an accident took place. Somebody gains his status purely for their stature in general, though they may not primarily belong to politics. The right example is Mr. Manmohan Singh. There were so many politicians, yes, politicians were in the Congress party, but the Congress party has chosen Mr. Manmohan Singh to lead the nation as Prime Minister purely because he was having the stature and the qualities. And he was also able to prove that, and he led the country for 10 years. And third one is someone will be conferred with their status as a Prime Minister as they gain and prove their stature over a period and possess rich experience in politics. That is our current Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. So this is how leaders are emerging. But one thing could be made out from the above is that unless you acquire stature, whether before entering into the politics or after getting the position in the politics, matching to your status, he may not be able to sustain in that position. Sir, though these theories are relevant today, what kind of leadership in politics the people want is a big question now. The negativism and the pessimism on the politicians still going on. Why? Chanakya told, a person should not be too honest. Straight trees are cut first and honest people are screwed first. This was told by the Chanakya. And this is most suitable to the leadership and more pertinent to the politician. And Chanakya says that a leader need not be honest. This is what he told that. And it is important that leaders have the ability to focus. Today's leaders, they want to have the ability to focus and motivate themselves because they love to motivate others. This is also believed. In this backdrop, sir, I strongly believe that today's politics involve more governance than the politics. Thanks to the technology, resulted in transparency, a major ingredient for the good governance. Today's politicians are not only running the politics, they allow to run the country too. The reach and the strength of the media also, they would expose the incapacity of any leader today in politics, and the literacy level of even an ordinary voter and the social media gives sufficient courage to express their view in the performance of the political leader in either way. So, sir, I may be the right person to suggest it is a high time for the educated lot gathered experience in administration over a period to enter into politics instead of showering pessimism on the leadership, pessimism on the political leader. And certainly I believe that this will ensure the entry of the individual possessing stature to acquire status. It will ultimately resulting in that all politicians will become leaders to pursue principle. Good that my earlier speakers were talking about the past leaders and even from the Vedic period. But today, this country is to be governed. The country has got different priorities, and what kind of leaders we want to lead the country, that is more important to be discussed than criticizing the leadership in the politics. And we, the literate persons who got rich experience in various disciplines, we love to rather advise the people, educated people, to enter into politics and correct the politics and run the country with more governance. This is what our view, Mr. Goyal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manimaran, for giving your views. But Mr. Manimaran has mentioned one thing, that Chanakya said that the politician need not to be honest. And I think all the politicians follow Chanakya at least for this purpose, and which we are seeing with the three arms, strong arms of the government, the ED, CBI, and IT, that the politicians are following. So what is the harm? Because when we talk about Chanakya, we always praise Chanakya. We should follow, and he is the Kautilya, he is the original, you can say, the Arthashastri, the one of the best economists in the world. If he said, then what is the harm? Why the ED and IT and CBI? I think judiciary should also respect and they should give all these politicians good ways, that they should not go behind the war, because the Chanakya said. But Mr. Manimaran has mentioned the name of our Honorable Prime Minister also. That is a thing, that is what I want to hear, because people are talking who are the leaders, and people are saying that there are no present leader, which I am going to come and ask in the next round of the questions, who are the leaders or not. But what Mr. Manimaran says, that being a leader in his primary time, when he was in the banking sector, he has joined the politics. So means that he knows what is the leadership and the politics. But I'm sure he might be facing tough time being in politics, which he was not facing earlier as a leader. Although time doesn't mean that economically or socially, but the happiness which Professor Saran mentioned, the pursuit of happiness, which he might be enjoying as a leader, which he might not be getting as a politician, because politicians nowadays, everybody paint them in a different way. Thank you very much, Mr. Manimaran. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi. Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi is practicing in Supreme Court, New Delhi, and various high courts of the country for over 20 years. He has been appearing in the courts for public causes besides commercial litigations across the country. He appeared in more than 50 public interest litigations, which includes health issues, education, environment, aviation issues, etc. He has also raised the issues of free testing of COVID-19 to all citizens in the private as well as government labs across the country as petitioner. He has also raised the issue of regulation of airfares by way of PIL in Delhi High Court. He has also raised the issue of Shaheen Bagh protest in Honorable Supreme Court on the ground the fundamental rights of common citizens should not be violated, and several other issues which are in public domain. His life is dedicated to millions of masses who are in need of the justice. Welcome, Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi on our show. Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi, you have heard what Honorable Justice Saxena, Honorable Justice Mehrotra, Advocate Jain, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, Ms. Hemlata, as well as Mr. Manimaran has spoken. They have given their views, except Mr. Manimaran. All are of the views that the politics is not in the way which used to be earlier, or the leadership and the politics are quite different. And but you being a champion of public interest litigation, you are looking after the welfare of the public, which in one of our panelists mentioned that even I also mentioned that the politicians are only looking after their own welfare. They are not bothered, irrespective of the political alliance. Like we have seen yesterday, the Delhi Assembly, how the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister were speaking against our own Prime Minister, against the policies. So there is a lots of conflict. Sometimes if we hear the speeches of our Honorable Prime Minister, we feel he is a leader. But when we listen the speech of Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, we feel
Mr. Modi is not a leader, rather he's a manipulator, whatnot. Being a person, an advocate or a human being looking after the welfare, we would like to know from you your views on politics versus leadership. Advocate Shashank Devsudhi, please.
Good morning, Mr. Lal. I have heard very erudite and powerful opinion from all my panelists. So good morning to all the panelists. I have a bit opposite view, because the politics and leader are two opposite words. If there is a politics, there will be no leader. If you will inject truth in the politics, there is no politics. So therefore, and it is not what I am saying, it is said by American author. So what because it is a very philosophical topic, and I am not a philosopher, I am not a politician also. I am a lawyer of the top court who always fight cases, in the courts I always try to find out the truth. So here I will try to find out truth, but probably I may be finding the truth. I may not be finding the truth. It is up to you to, conclude. But the fact of the matter is, see, actually, in a leader and politics, if you compare leader and politics in our country is no doubt a dirty politics. And I am negative about politics because I have, ever since I was born, I have seen the politics. And I have seen the common people also. There is a disconnect between the common people and the politics. Because the politics, you can enter into politics when you have money, you have power, you have a dominance, then you can enter into politics. So if a person, an individual who is having all the strengths, financial, social, can enter into politics, then a true leader cannot emerge, because you have compromised on each and every aspect. On the casteist sentiment, you have capitalized on casteist sentiment, you have capitalized on several other factors. There are several factors, responsible for becoming a leader in our country today, because if you are poor people, even if you are talented, you cannot lead a party. You have to be crook. You have to be negative person. Because the politics is meant for the negative person, let me tell you very frankly. So I don't have any hesitation in saying, because nowadays you see Lalu Prasad Yadav, now you see Mulayam Singh Yadav, I'm naming it, because there is no harm in naming those people. We are seeing the Kejriwal style of politics, right? Modi style of politics, right? We are seeing all types of politics, you go to south, you go to north, you go to the east, Mamata Banerjee and everyone. They are not really leaders. They are a politician. They are not leaders. They are serving the interest of a particular, constituency. They are not, doing anything for the betterment of the people, because the leader is the person who can sow the path. The leader is a person who thinks of posterity. The leader is a person who thinks, the social upgradation, the social upliftment. The leader is the person who do not think, present. The leader is a visionary. The leader is a person who thinks for the futurity. So therefore, there is absolutely no connection between the leader and politics, because the politics is an art of settling the financial interest. What we are saying, politics normally is a mechanism to govern the people. But here, the politics is a mechanism to rule the economics, the rule of the self-interest. And this is not what I am saying. It can be evident right from, everywhere, because the examples are ignored. The examples are everywhere. So today, we are bereft of good leaders. We are not talking about Abraham Lincoln and Mahatma Gandhi and the other good leaders. Those days are gone, because they are having a particular purpose of liberating the country from the clutches and colonialism of the Britishers. So now the politicians are having no goal. The politicians are having a goal how to enrich quickly, how to capitalize on the populist measure. So this is what we are saying. So therefore, what I'm trying to say to you, that This is not a politics. This is a total a kind of company which is being run and operated on the basis of self-interest. In a judiciary, if you go to judiciary, there is same thing. The people are dying. The people are not getting justice. The people are are in poverty. Every 5 people in our country is suffering from penury. This is the plight of this country. Had there been a leader, there could not have been so many problems. There are multiple leaders and therefore there are multi problems. There is no leader now either in BJP or any other party. There are always persons who are serving their own interests, and that is what dynastic politics is, the result of these politics only. Because we have been we have been ruled by the dynastic politics right from the very beginning, and today also in some form or the other we are being ruled by dynastic politicians only, because the day he is born in a politician family, they are a leader. In South also you see, because the Stalin is a son of Karunanidhi, he is a leader. So this is what the leader politics are. There is no leader, I'm telling you very frankly. The leader, they don't have understanding of the social problem. They don't have understanding of judicial problem. They don't have understanding of health problem. They have no understanding of the people who are sitting in the in the lower bench. There is absolutely a social anarchy, political anarchy. And I am not very wrong to say it is a judicial anarchy also. Because if the people are not getting justice, if the people are not getting the what they deserve, it is absolutely a chaotic situation. I am also pained. I am always pained by the fact that we are having a very good people around us. Both justices have spoken. It is a brilliant thing which they have spoken, but the fact of the matter is that these words and these statements are confined to the books only. It is not being translated into realities. And here it is a problem. Here there is a requirement of a leader. Here it is a requirement of a good, future-looking person. So we have a good people around us. Very good judges also, very good, lawyers also, very good, the entrepreneur also, because, one of my panelists had said that I was a director, I was a leader. Definitely they are very good people, but the politics is not meant for them. Because if you will not really, enter into permutation and combination, probably you will not be leader. The people will not follow you. You have to be a person who are maneuverers. You have to be a person who will have an ability to engineer the things. If you have these kind of qualities, you can be a politician of our country, because you have to serve the interest of many constituencies. If you go to Chennai, you have to speak the language of Chennai. If you go to Bihar, you have to speak the language of Bihar. If you go to UP, you have to speak the language of Uttar Pradesh. So therefore, if there is a diversity of the interest of the people and you are adopting the needs of the diversity, the problem goes. The true leaderism is, goes, because the true leader is absolutely not concerned with the populist audience. The true leader is concerned with the fact that there is a problem and that has to be rooted out, that has to be wiped out with the sense of conviction. That today there is an atmosphere of hopelessness and helplessness everywhere in a politics in our country. I am totally pained and saddened by the catastrophic political situation in our country. Every day there are raids. Every day there are the arresting. Every day there are statements which are loaded with the expletives. That should not be the characteristic of the true leader. The true leader is that leader who is a torchbearer of the society, not only in the politics, but also in the education. The poverty eradication, the poverty elevation, the true leader is the leader who can talk about reforming the judiciary. And the true leader is those leaders who talk about the eradication of unemployment. The true leader is the person who will talk about really eradication of poverty. So therefore, what I'm trying to say that today the qualities of leadership has gone out. the lamp of leadership has, has been extinguished. So we require a leadership today who can bring this nation to the fore of enlightenment, to the edge of enlightenment. We are under the soup. Whatever I may say, that really this, this is a good leadership, that is a bad leadership. But the fact of the matter is that there is no good leadership, because there is no training center which had opened for grooming the leadership. They are coming because of their own volition. They are coming to enter into the politics with the blessings of some strong politician. There must be a grooming of a politician who can lead the country from the front. They are entering into the politics from the back door. And that is the problem, because nobody is confessing the fact that the politics is all about serving the people. Politics is not all about enriching the people. So I am very clear in mind. I'm not a philosopher, as I said. We can only say that our country requires enlightened leaders. Our country requires a erudite leader. Our country needs a leader who has a feel for the commonest of the common people in our country, not in one aspect, from every aspect, either poverty or education or, many social problems also. So all these aspects, if the person is thinking and making a statement, irrespective of the populist consideration, he is the truest leader in the politics. Otherwise, the politics and the leader, the two topics are quite opposite. Because if there is a leader, there cannot be politics. Because the true leader cannot join a politics. Let me tell you very frankly, a true leader is, the circumstances are not such. You have to be crooked. You have to be a negative person. You have to be, planner. You have to gamer. You have to a scammer to be a politician. And this is the real definition of politician today. And I'm telling you today, the politics is not a true politics. It is a game. It is an art to enrich yourself and herself. And I hope I have concluded my point of view, and probably the other co-panelists will supplement. Thank you very much.
Mr. Goel, your video has frozen. Mr. Goel, your video, you have lost the connectivity.
He is coming back, sir.
I hope so. Yes, he's
sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I am back again. One moment, please.
Happens in technology. Yes.
Yeah, it happens with the technology.
Yeah. It got scared of our.
Yes. So I'm back here. Sorry. Okay. Thank you very much, Advocate Sudhi, for giving your views very, very strongly once again. And what Advocate Sudhi has done, mentioned, which I would like to say, he used the word crooks. According to him, the politics is nothing but crooks. And he also mentioned the names of all those politicians who are from the opposite party, not the ruling party. I can also say the BJP, which he has chosen. I don't know for the reasons, either he's aligned with the BJP or not, but he has chosen the names. He has forgotten to give the names of Hemant, the Assam Chief Minister. He has forgotten to give the name of that fellow who is now the opposition leader in Bengal. He has forgotten to give the name even. And what he mentioned about the crooks in the politics, it means, Advocate Sudhi, that our Honorable Prime Minister or the Home Ministers are in that category. I think we have to be a bit reasonable. We cannot term them as a crooks. He also mentioned about the dynastic thing. I'm sure he's giving the hint towards the Rahul Gandhi, but he has forgotten about Madhavrao Sindhya, that Jyotirao Sindhya. He is also, and whenever I will see about the dynastic thing, about the nepotism,
We forget about our Hinduism, our own Lord, our Bhagwan. Lord Shiva's son was also, can we term it as a nepotism or the dynastic rule? That Lord Ganesha, who is coming now very soon, three or 4 days after, are we talking about that they are also in the dynastic thing, that Hinduism is based on the dynastic? If we see Lord Vishnu has come in the different ways, taken whether Lord Krishna or Maryada Purushottam Ram, all were the dynastic thing. I cannot say, but he has mentioned that the torch bearer is the leader. The torch bearer leader, and according to him, no one in India is a torch bearer right now. Everybody is crook. Politicians, they are just thinking about them. And according to him, the leaders are to be groomed, which, although the sayings are the leaders are born, but Advocate Sudhi is very, very upset with the present thing. Even is the judiciary, he mentioned, in a very, very strong way. In a lighter way, I will say that yesterday, the Chief Justice of yesterday, now is retired, mentioned that the North Indian advocates are very loud, which I have seen here. I am sitting in the South. I have seen here, whenever my advocates come from Delhi, here the judges and everybody says that why the North Indians advocates are so loud. South Indians are very calm. So Advocate Sudhi is no exception. But he has put his very, very clear message to the public that the politics is different than the leadership. Don't accept anything because they have nothing. They have to run the country. They have to see the management of the economics. In that, they are having their own personal interest. Thank you very much, Advocate Sudhi, for giving your views. Now, my question goes to Honorable Justice Mehrotra. Honorable Justice Mehrotra, when we have heard everyone, and everybody says that politics is like this, the self-interest, not to think, freebies, etc. So why is leadership important in government? Why we are talking about leadership? We should say it's only a politician's job to run the government. We should not look towards the leadership in the government. What you say about this, Honorable Justice Mehrotra?
अपनी पार्टी को चलाने के लिए भी, अपनी पार्टी के लोगों को यूनाइट करने के लिए भी किसी एक लीडर की जरूरत होती है. तो वो लीडर्स, ही मे बी अ लीडर इन ए स्टेट पार्टी, रीजनल पार्टी, or he may be a leader of the ruling party. We have already seen in previous years in the UPA government, in the government when Mr. Narasimha Rao Sahab was our Prime Minister, they were heading a coalition government. People have chose a leader among them. So leader is required just to lead the members of the ruling party. Leader and politician both are different. So they are leader among the politicians, not leader of the country. We know that each party, maybe the ruling party at this time, are the party which were ruled the country for so many years, that is Congress. While Mrs. Indira Gandhi was in power, only 36-37% voters cast their vote in their favor. So you cannot say that you are ruler, you are leader of the country. You are leader of the country. You are leader of your particular party only. The actual leader, we may say, is mother and father in respect of their families only. In previous years, when there was a concept of joint family, the grandfather was the leader of the family. So we need a leader. We need a leader of the country, like Mahatma Gandhi. The present scenario is not up to the mark, I may only say, because the main motto is how to increase your size. We will not try to increase our size. We will try to reduce the size of our opponents, just to show ourselves increased and bigger. I have just gone through a little story somewhere in a book, whereby a student was passing through a graveyard, he saw a grave on which a name of a politician was written with a compliment that such politician, an honest man. The boy just stopped for a moment and say, so much scarcity of land here. Two persons are buried in the same grave, politicians and honest. So the present scenario, I think there is no leader who can lead the entire country. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Justice Mehrotra. Now, my question goes to Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, do you think education play a very important role in becoming leader? As Advocate Sudhir has also mentioned about that leaders should be groomed. Do you think education play an important role?
It is not only, I think, it is what is a universal fact. अगर conscience है, तो क्यों है? Principles हैं इसलिए है. अगर principles हैं तो किस लिए हैं? कि लाइफ हमारी हमको बड़ी अच्छी लगती है, मैं इसको बर्बाद नहीं करना चाहता. अगर प्रिंसिपल्स अच्छे हैं तो करेज होगा और कॉन्शियस फिर काम करेगी. वरना क्या होता है, एजुकेशन जैसी आजकल मिल रही है तो उसमें जो है हर कोई शॉर्टकट समझौते खोज रहा है. अगर आंख के सामने किसी का मर्डर हो रहा है, किसी का प्रॉपर्टी लूटा जा रहा है, तो हम दूसरी तरफ आंख घुमा लेते हैं कि हमको क्या करना है. वकील साहब बैठे हैं, उनको विटनेसेस चाहिए, वो मिलते नहीं हैं. जज साहब बैठे हैं, जब एविडेंस नहीं तो जानते हुए कि भाई किधर क्या हुआ है वो फैसला नहीं दे सकते हैं. और पॉलिटिशियंस जो हैं इन सब चीजों का बड़ा आनंद ले रहे हैं. तो सबसे पहले तो एजुकेशन को ही बंटाधार करना होता है, फिर उसके बाद से मौज मस्ती होती है, बाकी सिस्टम धरी रह जाती हैं. और मनमोहन जी आते हैं, कहते हैं कि साहब सिस्टेमिक फेल्योर हो गया. तो ये एजुकेशन ही बचा सकता है कि सिस्टेमिक फेल्योर ना हो, सिस्टम्स खड़े हो, चौकीदारी करते रहें, आदमियों को चौकीदारी ना करनी पड़े.
Okay, thank you very much. Now my question goes to Mr. Manimaran. Mr. Manimaran, are you happy with the present politics, or you still feel that we are lacking leadership and good leaders?
Goyal Saab, first of all, I am not agreeing with the view that the politicians are running the government. They may be running their parties. Politicians, when they are coming to the power, they are designing the policies matching to the party's ideologies. Otherwise, the government, the administration is run by the bureaucrats, IAS officers. Whether they're doing right or wrong, it is being monitored by the judges. If we are going to say, after becoming administrators, judges with all these kind of experiences, the politicians are running the government with the minority voters, and I think it is not acceptable to me. Simply by raising our voice, increasing our decibel, we cannot say the country is going to dogs. Anyway, the country is going to be administered. And if these politicians, these people are coming from the same family, what these administrators, bureaucrats, and judges are doing, at least after gaining all the experience and came up to this level, why they cannot come out after the retirement, at least join the politics and clean the politics instead of shouting at a big level. And that is more important. That's what I was trying to say, that principled person is required to run the administration, politics. So if you are really serious, all of us who are educated, let us enter into politics and trying to correct the politics. And that is the better way to run the administration and the country.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manimaran. Always, whenever you ask this question to a politician, he always says, why not you are joining the politics? You are ready. There was a movie came in Hindi when Anil Kapoor, the same question, and he said, okay, I will become the chief minister, and he has shown something, although it was a Bollywood movie. So we cannot comment on that. But the fact is that still people are not that happy. But anyway, you have mentioned that, yes, good people should come and join the politics. So at least we will feel something. Thank you very much. Now, my last question goes to Advocate Sudhir. Advocate Shashank Sudhir, my question to you is,
what changes do you think in laws? Because being a lawyer, I'm asking you this question. What changes in laws are required to have good leaders in our country?
First of all, really, one quality a leader is required that don't really criticize unnecessarily, right? This is the quality which is required for everyone. And the second thing, my learned friend from the banking sector had said that raising the decibel and raising the voice. What I'm trying to say, it is my biological voice. It is not that really I have raised it. Actually, in the court, really, one Judge Sahab had said to me, why you are shouting? मैंने बोला कि my lord, no law regulates our voice. So therefore, because you have to run the court through the law. So, sometimes a person speaks louder does not mean that he is disrespectful. Raising your voice does not mean that I am disrespectful to your point of view. I have great respect for your point of view. So this is my way of addressing, that is your way of addressing. So the first quality is to do not criticize an individual if he is not in your favor. You always appreciate him. If he is putting forward his point of view, you must appreciate whether he is, raising his voice or lowering the voice, doesn't matter for that, because that is the big. Second thing, sir, what I'm trying to say, see, my point is not to criticize all politicians. There are good politicians, also bad politicians. But overall, if you zoom out your perspective to the macro level, you will come to realize that the politics has become a business. The politics has become a mechanism of enrichment, because lots of raids are being done on the houses of politicians. Whether it is a fake or true, that is another matter. But tell me, it is not being done.
No, my question, you are not answering my question.
No, don't criticize anybody. The second thing, don't really satisfy the populist, views like freebies and all. The third thing, all politicians should be well versed with the problems of the country rather than well versed in the maneuverism. The fourth thing is that you should frame and make a policies for the commonest of the common people, so that the common people should be addressed. Problems should be addressed. So, and the sixth quality, that there must be an institution for a grooming a future leadership, where the values, principles should be taught to them, that it is not enrichment, but it is enrichment to the common people. So all these, a nutshell, there are, should be required to become a good leader.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Sudhi. So viewers, you have seen today very, very strong views from all our panelists, whether it's the honorable judge or the politician or the professor or the advocate. They have given their views, very, very strong views. Some says there is no leader and the leader and politics are different. Somebody says, no, it's not like this. We have a good politicians also. Politicians' work is to run the country. Yes, no doubt about it. Earlier, there were leaders because their aim was to liberate, as one of the panelists says, the country. Nowadays, they feel that there is no motto or ambition. But I think personal my views are, we have ambition, or the motto is very clear, to make our country a wish guru, as our Honorable Prime Minister says. And that is only possible if we all think positively. We have become very negative. One of the reasons is the media. I also take the blame on that yes, we are creating that atmosphere, but we have to see the positive sides of the politicians also. There are black sheep in every sphere in the life, but there are good people are also. Whether we term them as a politician or we term as a leader, we have to understand the leaders are nothing, but they have also done lots of politics in our life earlier also, and they are doing it now also. Only thing is we have to see how we can deal. But one advice, although I am not capable to do, but my advice is, if the politician will start thinking for the welfare of the society, for the next generation, then definitely they will be the leaders and the statesmen for the future. If they will think about themselves only, then they will be termed as a politician in the history to come. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, NewsGaon se Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan as well. It's shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor to bring to you every day new topic, something which is for the social thing. Our tomorrow's topic in media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. The topic is importance of domestic help. Yes, the topic is importance of domestic help. The panelists are Advocate Jyoti Pawar, High Court, Mumbai; Advocate Nidhi Banga, Central Government Council, Supreme Court of India, New Delhi; Ms. Pooja Yadav, Family Counselor, Gurugram; Rotarian Ritika Gupta, CEO, Saraswati Hospital, Mathura; Ms. Khushbu Rewandkar, Executive Coach, Model Actor, Senior Vice President, Ekal Yuva, New Delhi. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Rajiv Lochan Mehrotra. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhi Saran. Thank you very much, Mr. Manimaran. Thank you very much, Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi. And thank you all the viewers. And I'm sure today's program is very enlightening. And if all of you, the viewers, if you just think something about the welfare for others, because charity begins from home, good leadership also begins from home. So if we will think for the welfare of the society, the day is not